Well, either I made my Find Me challenge too easy again, or you guys are getting better at this. After I posted my video on Friday asking you guys to try to figure out where it was recorded, many people commented to say they had figured out the correct location. So where was I? I was here, in the northwest corner of this parking lot near the Holiday Inn Express and Hampton Inn hotels in Batavia, New York. Okay, so let's talk about what clues there were in the video that helped people to find this place. So what can we see? We've got three main buildings in this video. All three are hotels. We've got the Hampton Inn first, which is pretty recognizable, although maybe not if you live in an area where they don't have a lot of Hampton Inns, or if you're from outside the United States. We also have the second building, which looks a lot like a hotel, but it isn't necessarily clear which kind of hotel it is. And then we've got this last building here, which we can't really see very well, and we can't see any visible signs, but it was also a hotel. We do have one other building in the background here that has a lighted sign, but that was very difficult to read. I'll talk about that in a moment. We also had several cars in the parking lot here that had visible license plates, but they really weren't very much help. I'll talk about those in a minute too. Okay, so checking every Hampton Inn in the country wasn't going to be a very good approach because, oh geez, what was that?
We got a challenge. Some people are saying that there was unnecessary blocking.
Seriously? So apparently a handful of people complained that I was blocking the view too much and that I should have gotten out of the way and followed my own rules. But guys, I'm pretty sure that I stayed well out of the way and did not obstruct more of the view than was necessary. But let's go to the booth for replay. Well, we can see that I was definitely taking up the majority of the screen at first. I moved out of the way right after the intro. And according to the Monkey Tech Blockmaster 3000, I was blocking less than 26% of the screen. So there's no penalty on the play, the ruling on the field stands, and you guys are all charged one time out. Okay, moving on. Like I said, looking at every Hampton Inn in the country was not going to be a very good approach. There are over 2,000 Hampton Inns all over the US. Now, if you were able to figure out what the other hotel was, that would really help. Many people correctly identified that this was a Holiday Inn Express. Most people noticed the distinctive blue lights that many Holiday Inn Express hotels have. So if you got that far, you could look for Hampton Inn locations that were very close to Holiday Inn Express locations. But look where. Like I said, we had cars with visible plates, but they really weren't very much help. I tried to make sure that you guys got a good view of the plates, but night videos are really tough, guys. Even though I slowed down and tried to make sure that the plates were in view, they were still very blurry in the final video. By the way, more than one person actually asked or outright accused me of blurring the plates to make it more difficult. But guys, I did not alter this video in any way. That's just how it goes sometimes. Welcome to my world. Anyway, I believe that this one plate here was a Virginia plate. There's maybe one frame here where you can kind of tell that it uses a distinctive font that Virginia plates use, but it's still hard to make out. I think this one is a Massachusetts plate, and we might have a New York plate here, but it's really hard to see. The clearest one that we could see, of course, was this one that was very close to me, which I think is identifiable as a Massachusetts license plate. But the fact that there is not a clear New York license plate anywhere in view means that this doesn't really help us very much at all. Maybe it suggests that we're in the Northeast United States. I did give you guys the clue, though, about the video being recorded earlier in the week. That helped many of you to figure out that it was taken around the time of the solar eclipse. In retrospect, that kind of feels like way too much information. I probably should have let you guys figure that out on your own. I bet you would have. Anyway, many of you figured that out and correctly guessed that I was somewhere in the path of totality. That reduces the number of places that you had to check considerably. By the way, several people said that they thought this was recorded during the eclipse and that's why it was dark. And that's a good guess, but it's not right. This video was actually recorded on Sunday night before the eclipse. It was recorded just after sunset, and you can tell this is the sunset and not the eclipse because we have the sunset on one side, but we have a completely dark sky on the other side. During totality, you get kind of this like 360-degree sunset effect going on. You wouldn't have one side that was darker. Okay, so for people who figured out that they should be looking at the locations that were in the path of totality, one approach would be to just start looking at the states that were in that path. You could either check for Hampton Inn locations, or you could check for ones that were close to Holiday Inn Express locations if you'd figured that out. And you could really just go state by state, and that's what many people did. Of course, if you got really fancy, you could use something like Overpass to query the OpenStreetMap database to look for only the locations that were in the path of the eclipse. For example, if you did a query that showed you only Hampton Inns that were within 100 meters of Holiday Inn Express locations in the path of the eclipse, you get only like 16 locations, so it's a really short list. But guys, some people used much simpler approaches that worked out great. For example, if you just Google to find Hampton Inn locations in the path of this eclipse, you will actually find several different travel guides that list a bunch of different hotels, and this hotel was among them. So that was kind of a smart and simple way to find this. Anyway, no matter what approach you used, many of you found it and commented to say the correct location. I believe that the first person to comment with the correct location was Joe Magliacetti, though I think that Jennifer O commented shortly after to say that they had found it, so I suspect they probably found it around the same time. And by the way, that was only about 45 minutes after I posted the video, so pretty quick. The first people on YouTube to find this were Troy Winslow and Robert Shepard. By the way, several people recorded josemonkey style videos explaining their process for finding this place, and you guys know I love that. By far, my favorite was one recorded by Daniel Peoples. Daniel checked all the boxes, guys, mimicking my style, format, and delivery, and using a few of my key catchphrases as well.
So what can we see? I'll come back to that. And guys, that was it.
Daniel even had his own version of Chad harassing him during the video, and that was pretty much the cherry on top for me. Right, Chad?
Bruh, I don't even sound like that.
Nice job, Daniel. Okay, a couple other quick things about this video. So this building I mentioned with the lighted sign could have been a major clue if it was more readable. I didn't want to make it too easy, so I intentionally stood in a place where the sign was partially obscured by a tree. But I think the video ended up being blurry enough that most people probably didn't even try to read what it said. Anyway, this lighted sign says Rochester Regional Health. I suspect that would have almost instantly revealed this location if anybody had been able to figure that out. By the way, some people got confused about the fact that the Hampton Inn sign in my video appears to be red, but many of them are blue, including the one in Batavia. But that's because many of these signs have a red border that is illuminated at night, and it can make the signs look sort of red. Also, I recorded from the northwest corner of the parking lot, and I did that intentionally. At the southern end of the lot, there were two clues that I thought might give it away too quickly. This is located right near the New York State Thruway, and we have a road sign right there that says Batavia on it, so that would have been a big giveaway. Also, there was a transmission place called Jasper's right behind the Holiday Inn Express, and I figured there couldn't be too many of those, so that would probably be a big clue also. So I stayed at the other end of the lot, but considering how dark everything was, maybe it wouldn't have made much of a difference. Anyway, thanks for playing along, guys. It was really fun for me to watch you all go through the process, and I hope you enjoyed it. I will try to do another one at some point in the future, and I will try to make it harder next time.